farming, they say, is business. And while we have people in the environment who perceive it as pleasure, as luxury, as a hobby, and something that was passed down from them from one generation to the other. Over the years, farming is evolving really fast. It's becoming more scientific. It's becoming way more capital intensive, and importantly, it's also the demand for food all over the globe, particularly nations that their populations is exploding really fast. It's taking the center stage. Protected cultivation is one of the ways that a lot of key impact players in the industry are able to drive sustainable agricultural development, improve food systems as well as food security. Recently, we had a client reach out to us, and this client shared an amazing story with us that he invested several hundreds of millions into protected cultivation in a location within Nigeria. And as he was speaking with us, he had over 30 greenhouses with a staff population of over 20 staffs managing this farm. And that as he speaks with us, he don't have any crop in any of these greenhouses. In other words, none of the greenhouses are producing, and invariably his farm is not yielding anything. After nearly 2 years of investment, it's been one struggle from the challenges of managing staffs to getting the right agronomic management as well as crop husbandry right. And then he needs help. And when I listened to his stories, what we realized listening to his story was that this very investor or farmer jumped the gun, put the cart before the horse, as the saying is. He went ahead to excitedly set up a massive farm. It's no news that in Africa it's common to hear people brag and say, look, I have several hectares of farm, I have a number of workers, my farm is doing so volumes and tons. It sounds exciting, but what people don't know behind the scene, you watch exciting videos on the internet, eliciting amazing results from farms. You see numbers that seem so amazing to be true, and then you're excited and you think, oh, well, you get the fever, as it's called, farming fever. Everyone seems to be jumping into farming without sitting down to count the cost, and that's what got this very investor. He was excited about farming. He had resources. Little did he know that having resources to invest is not the reason to invest. Having a due diligence structure and a proper management team is the reason. So what this client did was he buried a lot of money in the farm, and then he began to realize that he had to jump the gun and hasn't learned the due diligence to ensure the farm succeed. This video is going to teach us essentially on how not to farm. A lot of contents we've been putting out there has been focusing on how to farm, but for a moment we thought to go back to the drawing board and also talk about how not to farm. And that point is essentially to teach you, if you're looking to put money into agriculture, if you're looking to put money into farming, there is a way to go around it, and there is a way not to go about it. Hello everyone, my name is Benjamin. I'm the Chief Agronomist as well as the MD at the Eco Farms and Agro Services Company. We're excited to talk on this content. Stay tuned. At the Eco Farms, we currently have a total of over 24 greenhouses directly under our farm operations. We spread them across different horticultural products and services. We didn't get there overnight. We learned by starting small, and then over time, we didn't just scale because we wanted to go big. We scaled because the market demand was growing, because farmers as well as consumers and retail stores began to know us, and the demand naturally flowed. fuel for us to begin to look into expansion. So what drove our expansion was the market-driven demand that led to market-driven production. This is because one of the key mistakes a lot of investors make is they like to go big from day one. A general rule of thumb that we have learned in this business is that it's always wisdom to start small and scale along the line. What this means is that if you haven't learned the due diligence to manage a small greenhouse or one greenhouse, you can go to manage 5, you can manage even 2 or 10 as the case may be. This is cut across different regions as well as crop husbandry. You haven't successfully managed the setup and the financial management of one greenhouse. You haven't successfully been able to understand the nitty-gritty of inputs to manage one greenhouse. You haven't developed the necessary staffing with the right agronomic management to manage 1 or 2 greenhouses. When you start with multiple greenhouses or multiple farm projects, you are sure to fail. It's certain, because every business, every process has its learning curves. If I have never bought a car all my life and I'm buying a car for the first time, it's wisdom to buy a simple and less expensive car, because there is a lot about managing a vehicle that I do not know. The good thing about this principle of starting small is that it works everywhere. Every mother understands this, that when you have multiple children, managing them is a lot more challenging than when you go one at a time as nature has it. And so what we are recommending to you as an investor, if you are looking to farming, not just farming across any business, it's the wisdom is that you have to start small. Learn all that it's important to learn about the business. Learn all that is necessary to scale and succeed in the business before you jump into volumes. And so what we have done in the Eco Farms is we actually started with 2 kits, 2 greenhouses. These greenhouses, we call them our resource center, material experience center. That is where we trained our staffs. That is where we burnt all our seeds from. Errors in managing fertigations, errors in buying the wrong seeds. That's where we made all the mistakes, knowing not how to manage a greenhouse, knowing not how not to manage a farm. And then when we learned what not to do, we began to learn what it's proper to do. And based on that, we began to go on a scale of 2 more, so that the staff strength can grow, so that the management, the crop husbandry team can strengthen their experience. That's where we discovered that a lot of graduates coming out from the universities having degrees or masters in agronomy or agricultural related courses had very little to no experience, and we had to begin to understand that what we needed were staffs with passion, staffs with a commitment to learn and to grow. And then we began to out of necessity start up a training in the farm, and this training has strengthened our staffs. It has strengthened them first to a particular region where we are. We haven't gone 20 greenhouses, 50 greenhouses, because we know we do not have that capacity yet, but we're scaling and scaling based on the strength we have in-house as well as the strength of the market demand. And there's a lot we're still learning. And so what essentially in a nutshell we're trying to say is that do not go big. Start small, learn along the line, and expand and scale based on the market demand, based on the capacity of your staffs. When you do this, what you are doing is that you are like a young person building his muscle. You don't go lifting up heavy weights overnight. You don't go to the gym and pick a 50-pound weight or 100 or a ton weight. No, you start with the little dumbbells, you start with the little barbells, build your muscles, and when your muscles are strong enough, you could lift those heavy weights. Because when you lift those heavy weights and you're not prepared, the weight naturally tells on you. And that's what plays out in farming. If you go big when you have not learned how to manage small, you're sure to fail. Hello dear farmers, welcome to the Eco Farms and Agro Services channel. One of the greatest challenges farmers have been facing is grappling with the struggle of common knowledge on how to manage crop husbandry in protected cultivation. We have worked with farmers extensively to overcome these challenges that cut across the right crop husbandry, consistency in greenhouse production, common pest challenges, as well as market linkage and a number of other challenges. The Eco Farms and Agro Services Resource Center has worked extensively to research on some of these key challenges, develop common and affordable solutions to these challenges, and we have put this into a document and produce a book that you could read. This book is designed to give you key knowledge on how to overcome this challenge in a practical as well as hands-on experience. We encourage you to make orders for this book. We encourage you to visit us and get a copy for yourself. We trust and hope that this document will become a game changer for your cultivations in your farm and increase your productivity. Thank you. Some other key things that I like to talk about are two key managemental practices. One is understanding inputs. The other is understanding how to manage workers. Workers and inputs are interdependent. They go hand in hand. If you understand the right inputs to manage the right pest, the right inputs to manage plant nutrient, understand the right inputs that is effective and efficient, you save cost by putting resources to the right inputs. If you understand how to manage labor force in the farm, if you understand how to manage division of labor, how to separate competition from your aim and your goals, if you understand how to recruit the right staffs, provide the necessary capacity building for them, what you are doing is that you are strengthening your production capacity. You are putting resources into what will work. You have to have a team that knows what they are doing. You have to have a team for marketing. You have to have a team for agronomic management. You have to have a team that is diligent and efficient in what they are doing. And so what most farmers do is that they rely on just one hand. If you're looking to farm on a scale, if you're looking to farm as a business, you need to know that the right skill is the key thing to manage the farm. And the next thing you need to understand is investing in the right inputs. Most farmers are economical with inputs. They go to the market every time that they need inputs. What is wise is to invest, lock down all your resources for your inputs at the onset of business. Understand that in Nigeria or other regions of Africa, inflation is key. For every time you go to the market, prices of inputs will dance. That will change. They likely will be continuing to climb up. So it's important that you sit down, draft your input management demands for a period of 3 to 6 months and lock them down so that for every time you have a need, you're saving on cost of inflation. Understand the necessary team you have. It necessarily do not need to be large. What you need is efficiency. If you have a team that can multitask, serve as an agronomy, serve as a marketing team, you can structure it to ensure that everyone understands their role. So you can't go into multiple spans of farming operations or greenhouses just depending on a few hands or thinking you can learn along the line. No, it's important that you build a structure from day one that you can depend on. An aspect of farming that is very interesting is the demand for varieties. One key question a lot of farmers ask themselves is, should I zero in on one particular crop, or I can be a jack of all crops? There is no one answer to that question, but what is key is the peculiarity of your region. There are 3 or 2 key things that we consider when we're going into farming as a business. For us, what we are eager or what we did was to dabble into a lot of things. We tried growing cucumbers, bell peppers, beef tomatoes, conventional tomatoes, habaneros, name them. But when we did all that, what we realized over time was that the market value for each of these crops varied. The agronomic management for each of these crop or horticultural products equally varied. And importantly, the response from the environment, by environment I mean certain environments were best for certain crops. And so in a nutshell, we settled for bell peppers, beef tomatoes, and cucumbers. And then eventually, as the market began to grow, as we interacted with more consumers, we discovered there were other key high-value vegetables that were not very common in our region that they had a demand for. And so what drove our production was the demand from the market. And so what you learned from this was that in a bid to touch on everything, we had a focus to narrow it down to what was profitable, to what we could specialize in and really become experts in. And so at the end of the day, we couldn't do everything. We could only do a few things. And so that's what we recommend when you're looking to invest in farming. Don't just jump on all crops. Don't just jump on what you think others are reporting are profitable. Study the peculiarity of your region. These regions could be on the agricultural environment, the agroecological zone. What crops do not struggle to grow in this region? What crops do not struggle to thrive? And the next thing will be what crops are consistently in demand across the year, because you're growing crops to sell. You're a business. You're not just growing for leisure. You're growing to sell. And to be frank, there is no crop that is not profitable. All crops have their demand. They have their value. But their demand varies across the season. They vary across what the market is looking for. So when you're looking to invest in farming, you have to do your research, and nothing beats a practical research. What you learn from your practice, what you learn from what you do yourself. And so when you understand that, just like the eco farms, we have come up with a policy to be consistent in our quality and quantity for key horticultural products such as bell peppers, beef tomatoes, habaneros, and cucumbers. We intend to be excellent in cultivating these crops. We intend to learn, make mistakes, and improve on ourselves. And we can't capture the entire market, but if we become very good in growing these crops, what we want to do is remain consistent across the year to meet these market demands. What we have learned in practice in managing our farms that we like to share, another key point, it's been every farm has to be ingenious. Every farm has to be inventive. Every farm manager has to think. Every farm investor has to think of what's peculiar with his region. Where in this greenhouse, for example, it's common practice that everyone sets up greenhouses when they think of protected cultivation. But what we've learned in practice is that greenhouses are expensive to set up, they're expensive to manage. The environments there can be really warm. Of course, the quality of crops that come out and produce from the greenhouses are top quality. But then we also thought, will it be profitable to grow crops in greenhouses? And what we have learned from that question is that yes, it is. And we've answered it by being very practical. And we've discovered that greenhouses give you more room to grow at nearly a more affordable rate. Of course, it comes with its own challenges, but the point to this discussion is that every farm owner should be ingenious. Don't just copy the existing cultures. Don't just follow what is the norm and what is common around. You have to look in-house and adapt your farm to the commonality. Some regions, certain crops will thrive there, like we discussed earlier. Some regions, certain crops, no matter how much input you put and agronomic management, they will struggle. And so you have to contextualize your investment. What is best in my region? Is my region so warm? If it's so warm, will it be more profitable to go on greenhouses because there's very little rain, but it's really warm? It's against greenhouses. My region have a lot of rains, a lot of pests. The weather is so hot. I intend to do greenhouses, but beyond just doing the conventional greenhouses, can I adapt my structure to self-ventilate to reduce cost? Such questions, such innovative thinking will help you to adopt your farm structure, your farm management to things that will work as against copying the norms. So overall, what this point is saying is that don't just follow the norms because what you have around you are the common things to learn from. You have to think, you have to adapt, you have to be flexible, you have to invent, and you're sure to find things that work and things that do not work. And so in continuation with what we'll be discussing, one of the key challenges with cultivation in Nigeria in terms of agricultural investment is the dynamics and the market structure. Recently, using the year 2025 as an example, farmers who were heavily invested in protected cultivation and were growing bell peppers, what was discovered in this year was that bell peppers were more valuable than the demands in the local market. What this meant was that there were more farmers invested in bell peppers. There were more farmers invested in cucumbers. There were more farmers invested in habaneros. And the available demand in the market was not as much as what was available, so there was a glut. And as a result of that, the prices for bell peppers crashed. And all of a sudden, a very lucrative market that a lot of farmers were excited to be invested in, all of a sudden farmers found themselves looking for where to sell their peppers. And so it's important that as a farm, or as a farmer, if you're really farming as a business, it's important that you understand the dynamics of the market before you decide on what you're growing. A lot of people go with the flow. Everyone is doing bell peppers, let's do bell peppers. Everyone is doing habaneros, let's do habaneros. There is money in broccoli, let's do broccoli. And what you realize is because everyone is doing it, then there is now more production and then there is a glut and the prices are tanking. So it's important that you study your region. Study not just the region but the season. There are certain vegetables that thrive in dry season or irrigation fed farming. What this means is that when there are no rains, most of the farmers are not able to farm because they don't have access to irrigational structure. And few farmers who have invested in irrigation are able to manage to irrigate and then produce few crops, and therefore our market is good at such time. So you must be able to understand also that at rain season everyone is able to farm because God is kind. There's rain everywhere and therefore everyone can farm. And so at such time there are key crops that will be abundant. They will be everywhere. And there are few crops that do not thrive under excessive rains and therefore they won't be abundant, not because there's no rain but rather because there is excessive rain. And so as farmers we should be able to take advantage of such times because there's rain. We are thinking as farmers investing in protected cultivation, what is not tolerant to excessive rain that I can invest in. So you must have a production calendar. You must have a marketing plan to be able to understand that per time, per season, this is the crop I'm investing in, so that you are not producing what there is no demand for and then you are not underproducing what there is demand for. And so, for example, at the Eco Farms, what we do, we study every year and every cycle and every season, and we're able to structure our production to know what to be abundant in production in rain-fed farming. What will be relatively scarce during the irrigation-fed farming. For example, the farm we are in, it's a sweet corn field. We will not plant our sweet corns in the rain season for a lot of reasons. Being that there are going to be a lot of rain-fed corns around us, and that will pollute our sweet corn purity. Being that there's going to be a lot of sweet regular corns around, so it's challenging to grow. You may not be able to produce corn at that time. But during the dry season, when there are no corns around, you have premium value for corn, not just corn, but sweet corn. So as a farmer, you can't just go with the flow. You must make decisions that are based on data. A data-driven production that is able to guide you to be able to make key decisions that will protect your investment. The next key topic we're going to look at is market-driven production. Good day, everyone. At the Eco Farms and Agro Services Company, one of our greatest excitement is when we share knowledge. The reason we're excited about sharing knowledge that we have learned in the field, it's because we believe this knowledge will be essential to build the next and the current generation of farmers. Our greatest challenge in the farm is finding the right trained personnel to recruit both as interns and as staffs. And so we're heavily invested in knowledge transfer. Not just to benefit ourselves at the Eco Farms, but to also benefit the wider Nigerian and African agri industry. So we're excited to provide in print, digital forms, as well as on the internet resources from our knowledge bank. They exist at our resource center. Most of them are for free. They are those that you will be required to pay for. We encourage you to visit our resource center on our website, visit our social media handles to take advantage of these resources. And should you be available to have a practical experience where you will be trained for a minimum of 6 months and a maximum of a year to learn the basics of agriculture, to learn from the nursery to the field and from the field to the plate, and essentially the good agronomic practice that we have learned over the years, we encourage you to pay us a visit to explore these opportunities. Take care. So as we've been discussing, one key area that farmers make a huge mistake that it's very detrimental to the investment is in market-driven production. The concept of market-driven production, it's simple. It states that decision on what to grow in the farm should start from the market before it comes to the farm, not from the farm to the market. What this simply implies is that you do not decide what to grow until you've gone to the market to do extensive survey. Not just survey, but identify key off-takers, key industry players, key end users and consumers who are interested in what you grow. Some individuals, like we do in the Eco Farms, even go a step further. We go to get commitments from consumers, from off-takers, before we make a decision on what to grow. I give a typical example. I don't just wake up because I hear everyone is invested in sweet peppers, what we conventionally call bell peppers, and then go to grow them, say for example the red and the yellow, just because I see that everyone around me is growing it, they're selling it, and it seems like you're making profits. What is expected is that you should go find the market for those peppers. It's your market interested in big size peppers, be them yellow, red, and green, or they are interested in medium size to small peppers. Your market research, your market interaction will define this for you. This will help you now to streamline your production, to know that your market is specific for large size to medium peppers, and they want them green, not red, not yellow. And therefore your decision at time of harvest will be, my market demand is for green, so I won't let them ripen or break colors. But what is perceived or what is seen often in the environment is that farmers often are driven by rumors, driven by common knowledge of what they think, and there is no structural market integration to make key decisions. And therefore, when they go to produce and they have produced the excess of the best of their efforts, when they get to the market, they realize that there is either little or no demands for what they produce, or they have produced what is perceived is right, but not to the specific of what the market demands. I give you a very typical example with the sweet peppers. And so it's important that as a farmer who is farming as a business, not just as a hobby, not just based on what people are doing, but it's going into a key decision to farm to make profit and manage losses, that you go through a market-driven approach to make your decisions. You will realize that there are a lot of crops that are overproduced, and because you've done some extensive market research, your market will guide you to know that there are key crops that are underproduced, and you can tailor your production as well as your practice with your staffs, with your farm, to produce, to learn how to grow some of these key crops. And there's also an aspect of market-driven production that is time sensitive. There are key crops that are generally overproduced but underproduced at certain times. There are key crops that are also underproduced but overproduced at certain times. You need to understand all these market dynamics that are unique to your locality, unique to your local market, and this will guide you. So this is the point we will close this discussion. But just to recall, it's important that you do due diligence before you invest in farming. You don't invest in farming because you have the money. You don't invest in farming because you have an idea. You invest in farming because you know how to farm. You have learned how to farm, and you are certain that you will overcome the challenges of farming. You don't go scaling your farm operations because you have the resources to start big. Wisdom and the general rule of thumb is to start small and learn along the line. Start little. You can never make mistakes that way, and then you scale. And it's important that you also make key decisions based on what the market dynamics as well as the market productions and market demands in your regions are. We'll be happy to take questions from you. Recall that the Eco Farms is running a resource center. The idea around our resource center is to provide existing farms, existing farmers, individuals looking to invest into farming, like one of you who's listening or watching this video, who is thinking and planning to invest in farming. We're encouraging you, don't go bury your money in the field before you come back to learn. We're encouraging you to come learn at the Eco Farms. We are willing to provide you accommodations in the farm. We will take you through the basics of farming, farming dynamics. Some of these things we're discussing in this video, because of lack of time, we will have ample time to engage you in our training. It's a 6-month program and it's a 1-year program. We encourage you to visit us in the farm and discuss the opportunities and ideas you may have, so that we can further refine and share some of these things with you until we get to see you again. Bye-bye.